Hi, it's Graham and Shirley here from Sanji Adventures. Today we're going in search of the forgotten Crusader Castle here in northern Cyprus. We're on the east coast of northern Cyprus, just by Boaz. You can see the Baspinat Mountains behind us, and I'll give a sweep round to this beautiful little bay. And you can see all the way down to Iskele and further on down to Famagusta itself. But tucked away here near a power station, we've discovered this. And this is Gastria Castle. It's the fourth Crusader castle here in the north, but it's the one that's least known. So we're going to explore and find out what it's got to show for itself. Right next to the castle is obviously a little port that was built here. It had been closed off for years, but it's open now, so let's take you down and have a look. Basically you see the remnants of the little port, but it's obviously quite a strategic little point, this, along the coastline. We're just walking up a lane between two large outcrops of rock when we looked to the side and saw some steps up here. Now apparently this castle was built only 10 metres above sea level, so we think this must be the entrance to the castle here. Now we've all heard of the famous Crusader castles of Buffavento, Cantara, St Hilarion, but few people know that this place existed, and this is a no less significant fortress from which only the ruins unfortunately remain today. Its history is very much entwined with that of the Knights Templar. The first mention of Gastria Castle dates right back to 1210. However, in 1279, Hugh III of Cyprus dismantled the castle and he expelled the Templars after they declared their support for Charles I of Anjou. Gastria passed into the possession of the Knights Hospitallers in 1308, but it was finally destroyed in 1426 during the raids of the mameluks. Interestingly, from the top of the castle, looking directly north, we look up over to the Vespin-marked mountain range, and of course Cantara Castle, which is over there. It would have been a great place to pass any information up to Cantara, onto Buffavento, and then on to St Hilarion. Looking northwards from the sea, we're going to walk up the left-hand rock outcrop first and see what's on the top here. Seems to be quite an established little pathway, so we'll follow our way up. Near to the top of the outcrop here, looking back down on the castle, you can just make out the back wall and a bit of the side wall. That's about all that's left of it. This is interesting. Just up here, I found a cleft in the rock which looks like a passageway of some sort. So I'll have a wander through here. This little hidden pathway crawls up the hill again, where we're now emerging near the very top, where there's a building But I think that's probably quite recent, so but we then left with this tremendous view of the coast and the mountains. On top here there are lots of these natural gullies which have obviously been formed by rainwater, and they've obviously formed the little pathways that we've just come up. In the far distance you can see Salamis, and right over there in the far distance you can see some of the tall buildings there in Famagusta. But there are some things here which look as if they've been distinctly man-made. If you can just look along here, you can see how straight this wall is, and there are some unusual things cut out into the floor which might have been for posts or something like that.
More cut away over there as well.
Just going to make our way back down this natural walkway. It's a little bit harder going down than coming up, so do watch your feet whilst you're here if you come along. We turn left to go down there, but I'm just going to walk this way a bit because there's a stunning little view here of the sea. Look at the beautiful colours of that water. Now we've come up to the other side of the castle here and walking up to the top of this outcrop, and there seems to be lots of things which have been cut out of the rock, as you can see where Shirley is now. Now this little bit at the top here certainly looks as if it's been man-made. Stone is very distinctly being carved here. Just found a little turning off the main track here, and it looks as if it's going over towards some kind of human-made structure. It definitely looks as if
this could be cut away as well, couldn't it?
Over there, yeah, you can see the chisel marks on the stone. So this must have been part of the outpost. Very clearly chiselled out. So maybe it was a lookout point on top there. Judging by the structure of things here, over there as well, I would imagine this must have been a settlement which was probably alongside with the fort acting as its protection.
It's quite an extensive space, isn't it?
And down below here we have some of the most beautiful flowers. Take a look at these. It's clearly evidence so that's a stone-built wall. And all down in the dip of this outcrop, it looks as if it's been dug away to find a sheltered settlement for people. It goes on for ages. Now we've just come down the higher pathway and we're going to turn left here. There was a lower route round this outcrop, so we're going to see if there's anything of interest around here. All along these limestone outcrops you can see what initially you think might be caves dug out of the sides of the cliff, but I think it's probably the salt water that's done that. But certainly from a distance it looked as if they were man-made. Just an example of the erosion that the sea can cause on that mushroom-shaped rock there out in the water. Where we were walking a minute ago was up on the top there. So we sort of like come down a tier. You can see why this was probably quite a good defensible place at one point in its history. We've walked back round on ourselves, back down to the beach here. And again, there's more examples of this erosion, which look man-made here. Like natural arches all the way along here. And just over there in the distance, you can see that mushroom rock I mentioned earlier on. From this angle, it looks even more precarious than it did from the other way. Unlike the more complicated castles up on the top of the Bashbenmark Mountains, Gastria was relatively small and just a rectangular fortress. It didn't have any towers, and the imposing walls were separated from the rocky ridge by a moat which could be crossed by a wooden drawbridge. The castle was erected at an altitude of only 10 metres above sea level, and the moat and the harbour surrounded the castle complex and gave it quite a lot of strategic advantages in terms of self-defence. Only half the moat exists now, but it's still worth a look.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed coming around Gastria Castle with us. It's been a great exploration here on Boaz Coast. Hope to see you again soon.
Well, that's the unknown Crusader Castle. It's well worth a visit. Come down in the summer months, I'd suggest, with a picnic, and you can spend a day on the beach and a great time just walking around this fascinating area. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I hope we see you again soon. In the meantime, can you make sure you press the subscribe and the like button, because that really helps us develop the channel and create more videos like this. Thank you ever so much again, and we'll see you soon.